For Clytemnestra, still, she rejects marriage, she rejects any kind of tie with her husband. So in this case, it's a woman, a Clytemnestra, who broke all the tie of society, and for her it's more important the blood tie. So there is all this kind of readings. These are just a few of the reading of this passage, but this is how Greek saw the role of male and female. So women more attached to the family, and they will commit crime for defending this blood tie, and then you have instead the male Agamemnon, the father, who is more connected to the public sphere, to politics. And this also explains why the women were totally, they didn't have any kind of political role in Greek society. Politics was something that for men was a man realm. So women could not participate because they were, their realm was family, houses, and stay at home. So no public sphere, only private sphere. So this is another reading of this myth. Do you have, yes?
Sorry, I'm sort of I'm intrigued by this this tendency I see with women in threes, or goddesses in threes, between the Eumenides, or well, you say Eumenides, right? Right. We have to be careful with that. And the Moira, the Hore. The apple, the golden apple fight. And if I remember correctly, I don't remember the names of them, but it's a gift Hermes gives Apollo. Or does Apollo give? I think Hermes gives Apollo 3 prophetesses, and they're sort of like, one may have the correct one, the other one might mislead, and the other might, it was sort of, but what is this about 3? And you know, the defense being the one Apollo, and then the community of women in the, you know, in the Eumenides. Is there any context for that? Or was that just total coincidence? Has that ever come across your radar?
It's never crossed to my radar. I don't have I never come across anything for explaining this. So I don't have an answer to your question, to your comment.
Carry on. It's just something that I've been thinking about, and I'll continue thinking about. But just sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
So here, just a final comment. Here, it's very clear how Apollo argument, but also men try to remove the female from any kind of significant role in the production, in the reproduction of mankind. So this basically is for a Greek woman was the only power that she has. So the procreation. So even this, this patriarchy won't even to take away this biological power from women. This is not the only myth about a procreation by a man, or a procreation without a mother. In Athens, the Athenians were extremely xenophobic, and one of the myths was that their ancestors were birthed from the soil. So there is this myth of Cecrops, the first king of Athens, of Erectonius, that was the fostering son of Athena, who were creatures who sprung from the soil of Attica. What is basically, there is no women, so they basically were generated by the soil. In the case of Erectonius, there is a really it's a really crude myth. Basically, it's that it is a story that a male god tried to pursue Athena, and while he was pursuing Athena, it seemed that some of his semen fell in the ground, and from the union of this male god, in some sources it's Poseidon, in other sources Hephaestus, sprang Erectonius, who was the second king of Athens. But with this myth, what the Athenians want to say is, we have been in this land since the beginning of the time. We are not immigrants. That was, so this kind also of myth where there is not a mother, where there is this generation, this birth from soil, is also a kind of myth justifying it is autochthony. So this is the autochthony of Athens. Yes.
It reminds me of the Caberoi. Am I saying that right? And who were the cult of the first men. These Titanic, and they're supposed to be forerunners of the Titans, who are criticized for being hyper masculine. And so it's kind of surprising, to find these, references to these hyper masculine gods that are denounced. And yet, from everything you're telling us, it was very, it was still very patriarchal, and there's this other element of xenophobia, which I find interesting as well, because it reminds me of some of the writings of the conquistadors, the explorers, when they go abroad to Africa, or it's the reason why the Amazons, and explains the naming of the pygmies, for example. Do you think there's some connection there? Is there a masculine root to that?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I don't know much about the conquistadors, but there is here. Yeah. Yes, I think there is this connection, this masculinity, and this sprung from the soil. There is, I think, there is this connection. All these myths, I have to say, all these myths are Indo-European myths. So, Indo-European myth that arrive in Greece after this wave of migration. So the Greeks were immigrants. They were originated from Central Asia. They knew it, that they were not originally for Greece, but the Athenians created this myth just for justifying the autochthony. And the autochthony is a concept that was really, really common in the ancient world, and has been also used in modern time. It is autochthony that was in the classical text. I will give you just one example. So the Nazi Germany used Tacitus for claiming that they were original since the Roman time. They were living in Germany, they were living in Poland, they were living in Czechoslovakia, and they promote a lot of archaeological excavation for justifying their imperialism and the conquest, the invasion of Poland, Czechoslovakia, and all the Eastern Europe. So there has been this use of these autochthony theories, it is a use of classical text for justifying modern policy and a modern historical event.